Caracas. Reuters. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, whose top political allies have been accused by Washington of dealing in illegal narcotics, on Friday offered to help U.S. President Donald Trump in fighting the drug trade. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro speaks during an event with supporters in La Guaira, Venezuela, November 16, 2017. Miraflores Palace. Handout via Reuters. Top Venezuelan officials including Vice President Tarek El Aissami and Interior Minister Nestor Reverol have been blacklisted by the U.S. Treasury on allegations they have helped move drugs from neighboring Colombia into North America. Maduro calls those charges a smear campaign, and insists that the United States must do more to reduce drug consumption. President Trump, if you really want to fight drug trafficking that has destroyed U.S. youth and filled the country with drugs from Colombia, you have an ally in me, Maduro said in a televised broadcast. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro gestures as he arrives for an event with supporters in La Guaira, Venezuela, November 16, 2017. Miraflores Palace. Handout via Reuters. Come find out about our experience, we can join forces. He did not provide further details. Maduro has repeatedly excoriated Trump for sanctions against Venezuela, which range from restrictions on U.S. banks buying newly issued debt to barring American citizens from having any dealings with specific individuals in his government. The Trump administration slammed Maduro's decision to create an all-powerful legislature called the Constituent Assembly in August. The opposition and the international community decried that move as the consolidation of a dictatorship. Maduro, who is himself under U.S. sanction, has in the past requested meetings with Trump. The White House responded to one such entreaty this year by saying it will meet with Venezuela's president when the country returns to democracy. Reporting by DZ Betrago. Writing by Brian Ellsworth. Editing by James Dalglish. Or Standards. The Thomson Reuters Trust Principles.
Zimbabwe's ruling ZANU-PF will discuss the impeachment of President Robert Mugabe on Monday, its chief whip said, after a noon deadline expired for the 93-year-old to resign and bring the curtain down on nearly 4 decades in power. Impeachment could see Mugabe kicked out by a vote in parliament in under a day, and would represent an ignominious end to the career of the grand old man of African politics, who was once lauded across the continent as an anti-colonial hero. In the draft motion, a party accused Mugabe of being a source of instability, flouting the rule of law and presiding over an unprecedented economic tailspin in the last 15 years.
Helping the needy and neglected is one way of obtaining a passport to paradise, Pope Francis has said. Celebrating Sunday Mass, the head of the Catholic Church marked World Day for the Poor by inviting homeless and unemployed people as guests of honor to the Vatican. Francis said there in the poor we find the presence of Jesus, who though rich became poor. For this reason, in them, in their weakness, a saving power is present. And if in the eyes of the world they have little value, they are the ones who open to us the way to heaven. They are our passport to paradise. For us it is an evangelical duty to care for them. The Pope has made defence of the poor, immigrants and the downtrodden a major plank of his papacy, and some 7,000 people in need were welcomed to St. Peter's Basilica for the special Mass.
Hopefully everything's going to work out.
President Donald Trump said Sunday that he should have left the 3 formerly detained UCLA basketball players in jail. Trump wrote on Twitter, "Now that the 3 basketball players are out of China and saved from years in jail, LeVar Ball, the father of LiAngelo, is unaccepting of what I did for his son, and that shoplifting is no big deal. I should have left them in jail." LiAngelo Ball, Cody Riley, and Jalen Hill thanked Trump last week for helping secure their release by discussing the matter with Chinese President Xi Jinping during his official visit. On ESPN Saturday, LeVar Ball, the father of LiAngelo Ball, said about Trump's involvement, "Don't tell me nothing. Everybody wants to make it seem like he helped me out."
Turkey, Russia and Iran have held closed-door talks on the civil war in Syria in the southern Turkish city of Antalya. The meeting comes ahead of Wednesday's summit between the leaders of the three countries at the Russian Black Sea resort of Sochi. Moscow, Tehran and Ankara are sponsoring the so-called Astana peace talks, which calls for the creation of de-escalation zones in key areas of Syria. Although Turkey has supported rebels looking to overthrow President Bashar al-Assad's government, it has muted its critiques of the Syrian regime, which is backed by Russia and Iran. On the agenda at the Sochi summit are reducing violence and ensuring humanitarian aid. Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu didn't provide any more details on Sunday's meeting, which comes as violence in Syria's six-year war diminishes. But as the Syrian army and its allies took control of Abu Kamal, Islamic State's last significant town in Syria, it seems a political solution is still out of reach. The army had declared victory there earlier this month, but the jihadists staged a counterattack using sleeper cells hidden in the town.
At least 15 people have been killed and 5 others injured in a crush as food aid was being handed out in western Morocco. The country's interior minister said the accident happened in the town of Sidi Boulalam. The food distribution stall had been submerged in the crowd of 800 people, mostly women. Moroccan authorities say an investigation has begun to determine the circumstances of the incident and establish who was responsible.
A storm on Sunday complicated the search for an Argentine Navy submarine missing in the South Atlantic. Authorities worked to verify that recent satellite calls, which raised hopes of finding the 44 crew members alive, came from the vessel. U.S. airplanes carrying subsurface search specialists arrived in Argentina to help hunt for the ARA San Juan, which was over 250 miles off the Argentina's coast, when its location was last known early on Wednesday. More than a dozen boats and aircraft from Argentina, the United States, Britain, Chile, and Brazil had joined the effort. Authorities have been scanning the sea from above as waves of up to 8 meters and winds of up to 40 knots made the search difficult for boats.
The Syrian army and its allies took complete control over Abu Kamal, Islamic State's last significant town in Syria. The army had declared victory over Islamic State in Abu Kamal earlier this month, but the jihadists then staged a counterattack using sleeper cells hidden in the town. Driving Islamic State from Abu Kamal means only a few villages along the Euphrates and patches of nearby desert, as well as isolated pockets in other parts of the country, remain in Syria of the caliphate it declared in 2014.
E televidentes, que nós concluímos parte de Notisia Internacional. Nós estamos um corte publicitário, ora nós estamos back e deporte, junto com nosso colega Carl Reuter.